Day 4 of the PCA main event. Things have changed around here. We've had world-class athletes.
Welcome to poker, my man.
Thanks, buddy.
Now we have the coach.
That's what I'm talking about, baby! Bang, 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 bang!
We've seen brothers stand together, and now one must walk alone. We've had big talkers.
Hallelujah! It's a miracle.
Now the chips are doing the talking.
I'm all in. All in.
I'm all in. Good call.
An elite field remains here at the PokerStars.com PCA 10. With 13 major titles among these players, there is no questioning their caliber. But it's the main event trophy and $1.8 million they all want to get their hands on.
In the back of my mind, being the first ever two-time EPT winner is pretty much up there.
Having already won an EPT, the motivation is to make history and get that feeling back.
And as day 4 begins, it's not just Jake Cody and Mohsen Shirani are eyeing the prize. Eugene Kachalov and Olivier Busquet have come close to main event glory in seasons past, not to mention the 55 other players, all of whom have the talent and the desire to claim one of the biggest titles in Hold'em. Swimming with the sharks is a Miami Dolphin trying to make a splash of his own.
There's a big entourage from 305, Miami. Grinder and I are very dear friends. Grinder's brother Rob, who's still in the tournament. Ryan Fair, who's in the tournament. So we have 305 represented well.
Fellow Floridian Robert Mizrachi has gone deep before, but fallen short. Now he's looking for redemption.
I always do good in the island tournaments. When I came fourth and came really close to winning it. Then 3 years after that, I came really close too. I want to take down the main event more than anything.
Olivier Busquet has already surpassed his PCA best. His expectations are high.
It's my furthest run in the PCA. This is one of the biggest tournaments of the year. You know, it's pressure-filled, it's intense, and I'm definitely excited.
59 remain, and we expect to more than halve that field today. So here we go, players arriving for day 4 of the PCA 10 main event.
It's all us, baby. You know it, right?
And there are the 2 remaining former EPT champs. Former runner-up, Olivier Busquet, on one of our outer tables alongside Jeremy Cutler. Patrick Kelly comes into the day as tournament chip leader. Eugene Kachalov on our secondary feature table alongside Chris Klodnicki. Mohsen Shirani is also going to have a seat at that table.
And say hello to one of the most successful tournament players of all time, Carlos Mortensen. Is that a Bluetooth? What?
There's the last remaining Mizrachi.
Nice little pep talk, just short and to the point. Okay, great. Enough of these guys. Let's get to the feature table. Yes!
Tatiana Batlosova is the last lady standing.
Jake Cody, not bad either. Jan Diana and Mikhail Blomley are on either side of him, so I guess you could say he's sandwiched between them, huh? No?
Both Jake and Tatiana have significantly less than the tournament average. We've got 2 of the French-Canadian contingent on our feature table, Yan Dion and Jonathan Roy, plus Joe Siroc, who's second on the tournament leaderboard with more than 1.6 million. Lines at the start of the day, 5,000, 10,000 with a 1,000 ante. Let's get cards in the air. Jake Cody's going to be first to speak. Jack Queen offsuit under the gun.
Some folks will fold this UTG, especially with less than 30 bigs, but that's clearly not happening.
Jake raises to 20,000. Action folded around to Jonathan Roy. 6-3 off. He'll pass. Round to Yan Dion in the big blind. Jack 10, and he calls.
Standard hand to defend with, even though we know Dion is dominated.
An ace-king deuce flop.
Both flop gut shots, which means they swapped out. They don't know that, though.
Dion checks, and Jake checks behind. 10 on the turn. A pair for Dion. The nut straight for Cody.
So that was a good card.
Dion checks a second time. Jake goes for value. 22,000.
And Jan Dion is drawing dead. By the way, Jack Bauer called. He wants his face back.
Dion calls.
The old call and hope your opponent shuts down routine. Plus, he still does have a nut draw.
Blank on the river.
And Jake now has the stone nuts. He shan't be shutting down.
Dion checks a third time. And Jake Cody will bet again. Question is how much? $38,000.
Should be a pretty easy fold for third pair.
Dion does give it up. So a good start to the day for Jake Cody, up to 331,000. Over at the secondary feature table, an all-in and a call. Chris Klodnicki with eights, Mohsen Tirani with overs.
One of us is grinding that 2K.
Mohsen's got him covered.
I hope it's you, buddy. Too quick, Eugene. At least pretend like you're not trying to bust him.
Good flop for eights.
Take an ace of clubs for the flush draw.
And then the 8 of clubs for justice.
Eight of clubs, you said?
Yeah, that's fine.
Ace of spades.
Ace of spades good enough for you?
Yep.
Nice, man. Good luck.
That'll do it for Chris Klodnicki.
Which way to the 2K side event?
And Eugene, whose side are you on? 8 of clubs for justice. No shady, Eugene.
Eugene does not like being called shady.
So 57 players remain. To the outer tables, where chip leader Patrick Kelly has gone to the turn in a pot against Andrei Shatilov. And Kelly will bet the turn, 150,000. Shatilov only has around 250k behind.
And he pulls the old, I guess I'm all in move. Reeks of strength.
Kelly counting out the call. He makes the call.
It wasn't much more to call, but I don't think you're even always ahead with a flush.
Wow.
Quads for Shatilov.
Yeah, see, told you. I didn't know he was that strong, though. Sheesh.
Wow, look at that, too. Either way.
And Kelly makes his flush.
Wow, that's
Awkward.
ridiculous.
Shatilov had shoved for more. I think Ace-King is an easy lay down there. You're going to be drawing dead often enough.
Well, Patrick Kelly has lost the tournament chip lead. That honor now belongs to Joe Sirok. Owen Crow and Nicholas Godoy both still in the top 5. Russia's Maxim Panyak is 10th in chips overall. He's in action on the outer tables. He's raised. Olivier Busquet is called. We're going to the flop.
Olivier in position.
King, Queen, 7 flop with 2 clubs. Panyak continues. He bets 37,000. And Olivier calls.
Well, he's got to have something to call on that board.
5 of spades on the turn.
Looks like Panyak's going to keep barreling.
102,000. Quick call from Olivier.
Snap calls twice now.
And the board pairs on the river. It's the 5 of hearts.
Does Panyak fire again?
Yes, he does. 227,000.
This is a big decision on a bricky board. If he calls and he's wrong, he's only leaving himself 5 big blinds.
Olivier calls. Ace-10 for Panyak. Ace-Queen for Busquet.
Sick, sick call. Station the pants off of him. And that is a near double up.
Olivier now up to 852,000. Across the floor, the coach has 3-bet George Clyde Smith.
And it looks like Clyde Smith is counting out a hyphenated 4-bet.
He re-raises to 175,000. And Michael Lippmann will call.
Just flats the 4-bet out of position. Okay.
So heads up to the flop with 361,000 in the middle already. It's a king-high flop.
Go ahead.
Lippman checks, and George Clyde Smith bets 100 grand. Lippman folds.
Gives it up immediately to the small C-bet. What do you have, 2 10s? Classy shirt.
Back to the feature table. Action has been folded to Joe Siroc, and the tournament chip leader will raise with ace-queen offsuit to 22,000. Queen 6 suited for Yan Dion.
Yeah, Dion, what are you up to?
He's 3-betting to 48k. 9s for Jake Cody on the button.
Jake's probably not folding this with 27 bigs behind. If he shoves now, he also has a decent amount of fold equity.
I'm all in.
Jake does move all in. The blinds both fold.
How much is that?
270.
Siroc considering the call.
Run one of those stacks down for me.
C-Rock's got a great hand. He might be leaning toward a call, knowing Jake would probably shove fairly wide with his decent fold equity. He just has to worry about what Jan Don't Call Me Celine Dion was taking chances with.
Siroc does call.
Gulp.
Dion will fold. And we have got a race on our hands.
Not that strong.
And 9s.
Let's get to the starting gate.
Jake Cody needs this pair to hold. His tournament life is on the line. Good flop for 9s.
Real good flop for 9s.
Jake now a 76% favorite to double up. Oh, an ace on the turn! I am regretting singling out Jake Cody as a potential 2-time champion.
It's the 2-time champion curse.
No 9 on the river.
That's a
Siroc improves to a flush.
click.
And Jake Cody exits in 47th place.
Not a bad showing for the newest Team Pro. Disappointing, but not bad at all. Meanwhile, Joe is rocking and rolling. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Because it actually is over.
The chip leader now up to nearly 2 million.
It was my first tournament as Team Pro. I mean, it's been a great start. I had a deep run. It would have been nice to go a bit further, but it was a great experience overall. It was nice to get off to a decent start, and hopefully I can continue it.
It's the PokerStars.com PCA 10 main event, and on our feature table, the action's on Tatiana Baratosova, who's just been 3-bet by Jonathan Roy.
Don't think a shove's gonna get a fold from Roy.
I will.
She does shove, and he calls. She has got 2 live cards, but with the flop, turn, and river to come, Roy is a 65% favorite.
I don't know if I love shoving for 20 bigs with King 7. You're gonna get looked up a lot.
The flop has a 7 on it, but an ace as well.
That wasn't good. Made a pair, but it's not good enough. She's gonna need a second pair or trips now.
King or a 7 needed on the river.
5 outs.
It's a jack.
Okay.
Bye.
And that'll do it for the last woman standing. Oh, look at that, a little tip of the cap, like a gentleman.
Can you...
Awkward. This is a very decent run for the newest member of Team Online in one of her first live events. Certainly one of her first live events of this size.
She cashes for $32,000. Still some distance to go before we start paying out the really big sums.
Jonathan, it's okay if you want to laugh.
We've got 3-way action on our secondary feature table. Robert Mizrachi was the pre-flop aggressor.
Mizrachi with TPTK.
He continues for 36,000. Eddie Sabat folds. Manik Lerza has a gut shot.
This would be a pretty loose peel, though if he hits a non-hard 10, that is the nuts.
Got a call.
He calls. And the turn is a non-heart 10.
That's not supposed to happen.
Mizrachi slows down, he checks.
Wow, he could have easily double-barreled there, somehow managed to check on a sketchy turn card.
Lerza bets 68,000.
Rob can also now hit a gut shot for a chop.
He calls. And the river is a 7, changes nothing. Mizrachi checks again.
How much value does he go for?
All in.
Lerza shoves. 359,000.
How much is it?
I said 359,000.
Armiz may not be able to get away from this. You should never try to bluff a Mizrachi because they've been known to throw on the hero call like it's the bat signal.
I call.
He does call. And Manig Lerza will double up.
And it's like Tina Turner said, we don't need another hero.
Lerza now playing more than $1 million. And Robert Mizrachi down to 625,000.
Also, what's love got to do with it? It has nothing to do with poker, I just want to know.
Blinds up 6,000, 12,000 with a 1,000 ante. We're going to sweat with Joe Siroc on this hand. Aces, nice.
Blades. Somebody's about to get bladed by us. Snick, snick, snick.
A raise to 27,000, called by Yan Dion in the cutoff. Anyone else coming along for the ride?
We got enough blades for everybody.
Nope, heads up to the flop.
Yeah, we probably do really only want to take the flop heads up.
7-6 deuce with 2 spades.
That's an awesome board for us. Not too much to be scared of there.
Siroc continues for 40,000.
Even though there are a few draws out there, you wouldn't really expect Dion to have called from the cutoff with many hands this board connects with.
When he calls the bet of 40,000. So we go to the turn. The Queen of Hearts.
I think this is a great card for us. Maybe Jan was floating with 2 overcards and he just caught one. We can barrel here again on the turn for straight value.
105,000. And Dion will call again.
Okay. 2 flush draws out there now. I'm still not super worried about this.
3 of clubs on the river.
Probably the safest river ever. 4-5 just got there, but honestly, I don't see why we wouldn't go for 3 full streets here. 2/3 pot would be pretty sick.
Green chips, 25,000 each. Siroc bets 250,000.
Is that 2/3? I'm not so good at the maths. But will it get called?
Dion was 630,000 behind.
All in.
Oh.
And he shoves.
Gulp. Well, here's the problem, James. We're getting pretty good odds right now, like good enough to call. But I feel like when this happens, it's because the other guy's never bluffing. Call, call, shove looks really strong. But we're getting like 3-1, 6 spot.
Call.
Siroc calls and Dion tables. 3s, he rivered a set.
Ah. Celine Dion sang about the heart of the ocean. This guy should be singing about the heart of the river. Nice river, sir. All right, take it easy there, Lost Boys.
Dion called flop and turn with just a pair of 3s and got there at the end. And with that hand, Joe Siroc has lost the tournament chip lead. He's now 7th on the leaderboard. Yan Dion is the new tournament boss with over 1.6 million. Just behind Siroc in the top 10 is Michael Littman. And the coach is in action here. He's gone to the flop against Killian Kramer.
Oh, that's Littman. I thought it was the real Michael Jordan.
Littman has raised 130,000.
Pretty wet board. Could be any kind of pair or draw.
And Kramer looks back at his hand and folds.
Don't mess with the Jordan kid. Don't mess with the Jordan kid. Don't mess with the Jordan kid. Don't mess with Michael Jordan. Do not mess with him. Get him, coach. Do not mess with him.
I'm not clear. Are we supposed to mess with Jordan or not?
For once.
Oh, top 2, sorry.
Shows Queen Jack.
One time.
Maybe not the best strategy.
Jersey really gets it done.
Had to change.
Coach, don't ever change.
Michael Littman, Miami, Florida. I coach the AAU South Beach All-Stars 9th grade division. My son is one of the elite point guards out of Dade County. He's an 8th grader. I've been coaching since Jacob was a young kid at the boys club. When he was younger, I used to bring him into the inner cities to get competition. And they were like, who's this little white boy making a name for himself? And we put together a team and we're the South Beach All-Stars. It's really a passion because I'm not just a father to Jacob, but I'm a father to 60 kids. Many of them are from broken homes. They really lean on me and they've been following my run and they're really excited for me. I really love the kids, and a lot of the money I make for poker definitely supports our charity cause for the South Florida community. Ironically, I had 305 people, Rob Grinder's brother and Ryan Fair, so they always called me Coach.
What are you doing, Coach?
So it really caught on because a lot of times I'm wearing my AU outfit and it says Coach, so I'm running to an AU game early on a Sunday morning and then I'm in a poker tournament for a noon start. I'm a dad, I'm a basketball coach, and a businessman and a poker player all in one.
Oh, what are you doing to me? We're all rooting for this guy to bust, and now he's all philanthropic and whatnot? What a bummer.
Lippman back in action against $10 qualifier Nicholas Godoy. Lippman bets $55,000 on the flop.
How much is it?
Used to be the chip leader, has an issue with buttons.
Godoy raises to $115,000.
How much share behind you?
Less than you do, Lippman.
All in.
Lippman shoves.
I call.
And Godoy calls. Godoy's up and down, and Lippman has king high.
What just happened?
Come on. High cards. High cards.
I don't know who's trying to give away their chips more.
That's what I'm talking about, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
How about getting it quietly? I don't think he really meant that thumbs up, by the way.
That's cojones, man.
Look at the hand though.
Cojones.
Check raise, bet, check raise, all in. Nice hand, Joe. Sure. Nice hand, bud.
Guy shoves with king high, gets called, and it's good. Not even sure what Godoy was doing in there with 6-9 in the first place.
Well, 32K is a pretty good return on $10, but understandably, Godoy is devastated to be out. For more out-of-table action, Greg Mueller is all in and drawing thin. He's run 10s into Ryan Fair's kings.
Hockey player about to get showered. Cold deck big time with his chips.
4 across heart would have been nice. Yeah. It's the other one.
Mueller needs a 10, doesn't hit it.
You played it perfect.
Good luck, everybody.
So we lose Greg Mueller, and Ryan Fair looks like he's having a good day.
Over to the secondary feature table where they've gone three-way to the flop. Mo Centurania will bet $34,000.
C-betting semi-bluff with a pretty weak gut shot. Eugene with second pair top kicker.
He will call. Mizraki with absolutely nothing.
It's actually almost the nut low and no suits.
He folds. Heads up to the turn. 6 of hearts.
Well, that's not his gut shot. Mosen still got just 10 high. Will he shut down? No, he will not.
He will bet again. 78,000, and Eugene Kachalov will fold the best hand.
Nice double barrel, Mosen Gosen. You know, I think this kid could win an EPT one day.
He's actually our last remaining potential 2-time champion, although I probably shouldn't mention that after what happened to Jake Cody.
Yeah, that's some bad juju, my friend.
To the outer tables where Carlos Mortensen has 3-bet all in with 8s. He's been called by Maxim Paniak with ace-king.
Paniak looking for some more paint yak.
The turn is a queen, giving Paniak Broadway and sealing Carlos Mortensen's fate.
Mortensen drawing Muertensen.
The last remaining former world champion exits the PCA main event in 36th place.
Yeah, and check it out. Paniak's got stacks.
Meanwhile, Carlos is being consoled.
Carlos. I forget to. Congratulations, man.
Thank you, bro. One of the greatest no limit hold'em players in the world. Why don't more people know who he is? That's the question, my man. Carlos Mortensen.
That backhand would have Boris Becker jealous.
That was painful. Back at the feature table.
It's Phil's world. We're all just living in it.
Action is on Dimitar Danchev. He recently joined the feature table. He's a former runner-up on the EPT, came second in San Remo in Season 8, and he's raising here with 7-5 suited, makes it 24,000 to play.
This is a little loose from early.
Hold it around to Yan Dion. Pocket 8s.
Good enough to play. Not a typical spot for a 3-bet, though.
He defends his big blind, heads up to the flop.
Hope Danchev's got some kind of plan.
Well, he likes the look of 2 pair. Unfortunately for him, Dion's flop top set.
Dion makes more sets than the universal backlot. This is not going to end well for Danchev.
Dion checks, and Danchev, with less than 1% equity, bets 26,000.
I'm not a huge fan of slow playing a set on this flop. Sure, Danchev is drawing almost totally dead, but Dion doesn't know that.
He just calls.
Slow play it, he does.
6 on the turn.
Now what? Awful card for both players.
Dion checks again. And Danchev will check behind. The river is a 9. We've got a 5-card straight. They are both playing the board. It's going to be a chop. And you know what they say, Joe?
Hold on a second there, Chief. He's betting. This might not be a chop pot.
Oh. Dion bets 78,000.
He thinks he can incredibly rep a 10 in his range, and he pretty much can. Tough to get a fold here, though.
Danchev is counting out a raise?
Looks like it.
Wow. He makes it 156,000.
This is a min raise, trying to make it look like he really, really, really wants a call. Also, he probably doesn't want to lose too much if this bluff goes wrong. Sick move, though. See if Jan can sniff it out. You just had to slow play the set.
Dion folds. Danchev's raise takes him off the chop.
In Dion's defense, I don't think Danchev's bluffing there that often, so nice move. What? What do you think Jan Dion just said there? Hashtag him, people. PCA 10.
And also tell us what you think about Danchev's move on the river. Well, the players are going to go on a short break. We'll do the same. More action from Atlantis straight ahead. Welcome back to the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. As the push to survive Day 4 continues, many of the short stacks slip away here at the PCA 10 main event. We're already down to 32, and the tables are all shook up. This means we have a new feature table, and on it 2 players who've already tasted success on the tour. Robert Mizrachi and Olivier Busquet have both got their eyes on another final table finish. Nice mix of nationalities on our new feature table. Both of the big names, Mizrachi and Busquet, have below average stacks. Jan Dion stays on the feature table, and he is the table chip leader with more than 1.5 million. Blinds are up, by the way, 8,000, 16,000, with an ante of 2,000. Action on Olivier Busquet. Jack 8 suited, and he's raising 32,000.
This is a light raise, some early 2. Does anyone care about position anymore?
Well, Pedro Cuervo in late position calls with ace-queen.
Yeah, what's this Sith Lord gonna do?
Timo Eckert folds the button. The blinds get out of the way. Heads up to the flop. It's top pair for Cuervo. The flush draw for Busquet.
Busquet's usually gonna c-bet here.
He checks.
Hoping to get a free card and disguise the strength of his hand. It's gonna half work.
Cuervo bets 23,000.
Yeah, vote for Pedro. Should really not be giving free cards on this board. Nice bet.
And Olivier calls. The turn is the ace of diamonds. Busquet makes a flush. Cuervo now with trips.
Ugh, that's the worst thing to happen to a Cuervo since Prohibition.
Busquet checks a second time.
By checking, he can get a ton of value out of a river check raise or lose the minimum if a really awful river hits.
Cuervo bets 59,000.
I'd be surprised if the check raise came here.
Once again, Busquet just calls. 268,000 in the middle. 1 card to come.
Check.
And Busquet checks dark.
Ooh, mysterious.
8 of hearts.
Busquet's gonna be licking his chops for this check raise. What?
Cuervo checks behind.
How do you check ace-queen, man?
What a nit!
How do you check ace-queen? Good check. That's wild.
Olivier's a little tilted.
Oliver will win this pot.
Olivier, not Oliver. Please don't call me Oliver.
Sorry, super tilted.
Good check.
Sorry, man.
No, it's okay. I'm more upset that I won the
I understand.
least possible
You
I
take
could
it
have
out on
won.
me, it's okay.
Remember his name. We see a lot of him on the tour.
I've always been really competitive when I was a kid. My dad taught me chess. I loved going to tournaments. I would always get really nervous, but I really enjoyed the kind of thrill of it. When I got a little bit older, I kind of transitioned into sports more. I really loved the competition in sports. I played basketball and I ran track pretty seriously. When I got into college, my college experience kind of set up my poker. In finance, I had always heard that there was a strong skill set overlap between trading and poker. And I actually started playing poker as a way to try to develop the skills necessary to become a trader. And then one of my coworkers told me that you could play online. And when I started playing online, then it just exploded in terms of my interest. What actually happened was I got fired from my job for playing online at my job, which is kind of an embarrassing way to lose my job, but it kind of speaks to the interest and obsession that I had with the game at the time. There was nothing that was going to stop me from playing poker. When it happened, I was a little bit embarrassed, but ultimately excited about this kind of new path that I was going on, and the fact that now I had a lot more time to play online, and now instead of this being like a hobby that I was really interested in, now this was my main pursuit, and this was going to be the way I supported myself. I had to take it that much more seriously.
Olivier is a famous EPT bridesmaid. Hopefully Bousquet eventually catches the bouquet.
Which would mean he'd still be a bridesmaid. But finishing second here at the PCA still makes you a millionaire, but the winner will get the better part of $2 million. To the outer tables, where we've got three-way action, three of the biggest stacks in the tournament. Check, check, check on the flop, no betting action on the turn. Board pairs on the river.
Looks like all the checking's over.
Dimitar Danchev bets 55,000. Ryan Fair.
Those are the big chips.
Greens 25,000 apiece. So he raises to 178,000. Patrick Kelly folds.
Boy, nothing really got there except for a 4.
Danchev calls.
I called you, sir.
You usually have to show the winner.
I don't think so.
Somebody have to show me a winner.
Yeah, Ryan can't show you a winner.
And if Ryan Fair is mucking, Dimitar Danchev doesn't have to show anything.
Not sure if I love the way Danchev played it, honestly. He should have been building a pot when he flopped a pair in a big draw, not putting in tons of chips when he didn't really get there.
But his game plan is working for him. He's now third in chips overall. Staying out in the field, Michael Littman against Owen Crow. Crow has just 4-bet Littman on the flop.
A 4-bet on the flop often means business. And I'm not rooting against Littman in this hand, but I am rooting against his celebrations.
Don't worry, Joe, he's folded.
Oh, Bowen had 4 high.
So Owen Crow adds 287,000 chips to his stack. He's now up to 2.2 million. He's the current tournament chip leader. The chip lead has been changing quite frequently here on day 4. Ryan Fair currently second in chips, Dimitar Danchev in third. And at the opposite end of the spectrum, plenty of short stacks, including Jeremy Kotler, whose tournament life is currently on the line. All in with ace-9, called by Eddie Sabat, and Kotler drawing to a 9 with only 1 card to come. Doesn't hit.
Good game, Jeremy.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
Hey, well, at least you got it in good. Oh, wait, no you didn't. Didn't Eddie also knock out Michael Phelps? Dislike.
Eddie Sabat back in the tournament top 10. Jeremy Kotler out in 30th for $47,000. To the outer tables, and a player whose stack has been on the descent all day, Joe Siroc facing a bet on the turn from Patrick Kelly. Siroc folds.
Yep, the older guys tend to have it. Just a rule of thumb. A weathered, grizzled thumb.
Back to the feature table. Olivier Bousquet with deuce 3 suited, raises.
Olivier, this guy, will he ever learn?
His nemesis, Pedro Cuervo, calls with 10s.
I keep wanting to call him Jose because his last name is Cuervo, but his name is Pedro, and I feel really bad about it. Some folks with 3-bet 10s, but not always into an early raiser.
Mizrachi with ace-king.
All in.
He shoves from the small blind and then checks that he does actually have ace-king. Back on Olivier. He gives up the deuce-3.
Now, Pedro doesn't have to call, but he probably should.
Call.
He does call.
All right.
Call.
You didn't even need to hear my reason. That's good. As I was saying, he's not going to be beat very often, and he's going to have the best hand a fair amount. It's only like 20 big blinds.
So Robert Mizrachi at risk and racing for his tournament life. Looking for an ace or a king. And there's an ace on the flop.
Was there ever a doubt who was going to win this hand? Rob Mizrachi or Pedro?
Huevo could still hit a 10 on the river. 2 cards in the deck that Robert Mizrachi has to fade. It's a 6. So Mizrachi gets the double up.
Aw, I like Pedro. I want Pedro to hang in there. Aw, again. Look what you did to Pedro, Rob. It's like you don't even care.
There's an all-in at the secondary feature table. Eugene Kachelov has shoved the button with 6s, but he's run into aces.
I call.
After Hollywooding, Owen Crow just calls, hoping to entice the big blind into joining the party. But Nogueira folds. So Kachelov in horrible shape.
Oh, Sean.
10 is a burn card.
And Kachelov is practically drawing dead.
Wait. There's running quads.
Good game, Eugene.
Another deep run for Eugene Kachelov here at the PCA. He'd hoped to make the main event final table, which this guy has a strong chance of doing. But Eugene will have to be content with a 29th place finish.
Time for Kachelov to catch some rays of sunshine.
If you want to play in an EPT event, go to PokerStars.com, where there are qualifiers every day. The PokerStars.com PCA has grown in the last 10 years, from a single tournament to a festival of 50 events. A lot has changed in the poker world in that decade, and back when it all started, some of today's biggest names weren't names at all.
If somebody had told me that I would be where I am today 10 years ago, I probably would have not believed them. I mean, it's been a pretty surreal experience and a fun ride these last 10 years.
10 years ago, I just finished NYU, but at the time I was still like living with my mom. I didn't really have any money. I kind of got sucked into poker a little bit. I remember recognizing that Danielle was like, wow, who's this guy who's like winning everything? There must be something to it.
If someone told me 10 years ago I'd be where I was today, I'd say, yeah, I'm not surprised. I had a lot of confidence in myself 10 years ago, and I have a lot of confidence in myself today.
10 years ago, I was going to prom.
Hang on, you were 21 10 years ago.
And?
On the wall behind the players, the faces of all the previous EPT champs. Gus Hansen won the first ever PCA. Daniel Negreanu finished third. Blinds 10-20 with a 3K ante. Robert Mizrachi raising an early position with Jack Deuce.
Oh, Robert Mizrachi. Lol.
Olivier Busquet calls out of the small blind with King Jack. Guillaume Rivet, who's just been moved to the feature table, folds the big blind, so heads up to the flop.
Oliver's got Rob dominated. Just kidding, Olivier, calm down.
9-10-3 on the flop.
Not a bad flop for King Jack. 2 overs and a gut shot to the nuts.
Busquet checks.
Should be an easy check call situation for him for at least one street.
Mizrachi continues for 44,000.
I'd be very surprised if Olivier did anything but call here. But I guess he wants to make it look like he's got some kind of decision.
Well, Olivier does elect to call. And the turn brings another 3.
Big brick.
Busquet checks again.
If Rob could find the second barrel here, he might take... What am I talking about? This is Rob Mizrachi. He's going to find the second barrel.
82,000 and Olivier Busquet folds.
Rob Mizrachi double barreling like a boss.
To the outer tables, where the former tournament chip leader is all in.
For just shy of 20 big blinds.
The decision is on George Clyde Smith, a British player who qualified for this tournament via a $10 online satellite. And he reshoves.
Trying to freeze out Kelly.
Which he does. Kelly folds. Clyde Smith tables jacks. Siroc's got fives.
Great spot for George Clyde Smith.
Horrible spot for Joe Siroc, who started today second on the leaderboard.
Looks like he's ready to leave. But he just can't quite drag himself away.
No help from on the flop, drawing dead on the turn.
Well, you know what they say. Que Siroc, Siroc.
He finishes in 26th place, which is good for $47,000.
And we are getting closer and closer to the final table and those huge payouts.
Good hand, George. Thank you.
You can tell it's huge because I left off the H.
Let's check in on the coach. Playing post-flop against Jerry Wong. Lipman checks, and Wong checks behind. King of Hearts on the turn. Lipman checks a second time. Wong now bets 125,000.
450.
Raised to 250.
450.
My apologies. Raised to 450.
Lipman check raises to 450.
This raise could mean literally anything, but honestly, when they say it all angry like that, it's usually a bluff.
Wong folds, ship the pot to Lipman.
Wait for it. Where's the celebration? We've been spared! Maybe he's listening to a self-help book on there.
As day 4 draws to a close, all the remaining players start thinking about that trophy and the prospect of winning the better part of $1.9 million. Back to the feature table, where action has been folded to Robert Mizrachi on the button. He looks down, 7-8 suited.
Rob's got a great hand for him.
He raises to 40,000. 6-5 suited for Yan Dion in the small blind. He calls.
Just calling from the small blind. I think I like the 3-bet here a little better because sometimes you win it pre-flop, but against Rob, actually, what am I talking about? You'll never win it pre-flop. Just call.
Well, the big blind has folded, so we're going heads up to the flop.
You just have to have a plan because remember, you're rarely going to flop anything except for, in this case, it's a flush draw.
Mizrachi with bottom pair. Dion checks. And Mizrachi continues for 56,000.
Jan's maybe caught on at this point that Rob's going to bet his entire range here. A semi-bluff check raise might do the trick.
Boom, 153,000. And Mizrachi, with just a pair of sevens, will call.
What was I talking about? Of course he's calling. He's got a pair.
6 on the turn. Dion now with a pair to go with his flush draw.
Jan's got showdown value. He could slow... No.
Having check-raised the flop, he leads for 190,000 on the turn.
Rob defended against the check raise because he knows Jan thinks he's going to have air here a lot of the time.
390.
And now Mizrachi raises up to 390,000.
Jan was semi-bluff raising. Rob is plain bluff raising. This is a weird spot to raise, actually, because most of the time your opponent's going to fold his bluffs and call with his monsters.
Dion probably thinks that 6s and 5s are live in addition to hearts. He calls.
But some way, somehow, Rob Mizrachi just made an absurd value bet against one of the only hands he's beating and got called.
Dion looking for help on the river. It's a brick. He checks, and Mizrachi checks behind.
That's aggressor.
7s are good.
More Lost Boys happening there. Yeah. I'm the greatest. Yep.
Nice, sir.
Rob Mizrachi now up over 1.8 million. Well, he looks set to make it to day 5. The same cannot be said for Steve Rosen, out in 23rd.
The Orange Man is looking for the Orange Man. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
All in on the secondary feature table. Mikhail Blomley officially the player at risk, but if Mohsen Charania loses here, which he probably will, he'll be crippled.
Flush draw.
A queen or a club gets him out of this.
Take the queen of diamonds.
You know you have a flush draw, right?
Queen of diamonds.
That might have been news to Blomley.
King of clubs.
He'll take the 4 of spades.
Oh, here. 5.
Oh.
Sorry.
That'll about do it for Mohsen.
Charania's 2-time hopes are fading. What did I do?
Jinx.
That's pretty sick that you said that someone's busting his hand. But you didn't. Oh, you didn't bust. So.
Come on, Eddie.
Another battle of the big stacks on the outer table. It's the last hand of the day. Dimitar Danchev opened, Ryan Fair called, and now Patrick Kelly has 3-bet. Danchev will 4-bet to 460K. Ryan Fair is out of here.
And these guys both have tons of chips.
He will flat the 4-bet, and with more than $1 million in the middle, we go heads up to the flop. The flop is Queen 10-7 with 2 hearts.
It's a fairly wet board. You'd expect us to have hit somebody.
Dimitar Danchev continues, 360,000.
I'm all in.
Kelly shoves!
And this is now the biggest pot of the entire tournament. Kelly is repping pretty huge. Hands like aces, kings, sets for his value hands. And if it's not a made hand, the rest of the time I think he's shoving hands with tons of equity, like ace, king of hearts or king, jack of hearts. And with Kelly's image, Danchev's in a really sick spot right now with a hand like top pair or 2 kings. And he's so tortured, it looks like that might be what he has.
I call.
Danchev calls. Kelly proudly flips over 6-7.
Wow, it was near air.
And Danchev does have kings.
Good call by Danchev. I would not recommend shoving 7-6 in that spot, but then again, I wouldn't recommend calling a 4-bet out of position with it either.
Kelly needs a 6 or a 7, and he needs it on the river.
What an unnecessarily huge pot.
The board bricks out for him, and we lose the former tournament chip leader on the last hand of day 4.
Tournament poker is unforgiving.
What a coup for Dimitar Danchev.
Poor Patrick Kelly just gave him away. Running 7-6 into kings is not a cold deck.
So Dimitar Danchev is now playing a stack of more than 4 million. Robert Mizraki and Michael, the coach Lippmann, also in the top 10. But it's the former EPT runner-up who'll come into day 5 as tournament chip leader.
Why'd you slow roll him? Come on, you didn't know he had 6-7? Now I think you're the chip leader.
Yeah. He most certainly is.
Next time, the mind games begin.
Whatever your mind wants, it's gonna perceive it that way.
Just don't believe me, huh?
No, I didn't believe you.
Only 8 seats around the final table, and everyone wants one.
One more bang, bang, bang today, and I'm ready for this final table.